Alright, is it working? Why is my head so small? What's going on over here? Bro. Some technical difficulties, but I think we're good now. Can you guys see me? Can you hear me? All right. What's up, Sharon? What's up, J35? Blacklight? Piano stream win? Okay, let's see if I... What do I want to work on? Might be a little challenging. My Cloud Code subscription is like at its weekly limit. I think I have like 99% usage. So I probably have to find things to do in Cursor because I do have some additional things I can do in Cursor. But yeah, I think I'm just going to poke around with some of the things that we have and just make sure they still kind of work. Well, that's broken. Typed a single letter into that search input box and then it broke. F category. I'm guessing this thing doesn't have a category on it. So what project am I on right now? I'm on the YYYY project. All right, so go here. Got features. Technically, I don't think we even need this context folder. Let me fix my chat windows. This is kind of confusing. All right, we have the board view, which is trying to get the categories from the feature, but feature probably doesn't have any category things set on it for some reason. And I'm not sure why it doesn't. They should still be, I guess, probably just do this. I think category might be optional. Yeah, there we go. Quick little fix there. Don't know if that's the best fix, but I'm pretty sure that's an optional field, so we're gonna go ahead and like add that. I'll make a new branch for these changes too. Random fixes. New project modal. I think we need to standardize on linting. It's like every time I save a file, it's just like everything's just not linted the same way. But I don't want to do a full-on linting. Like it's gonna mess up everyone's git diffs. App spec format. What is this? Oh, let me go to my branch. Bro. Is Super Combo watching? Listen, I'm just gonna merge this. If I break it, I'm sorry. There's changes on there that I want. Yeah, is this one good to merge in? I'm not gonna test on a live though. Gotcha. All right, I'm just gonna keep on. I'm not gonna really go through the issues or anything. I'm just gonna go through the app. Maybe I'll come back and see if there's some issue that I can fix. Is there anything with like the type ahead or the text searching? That must have been a new issue. Let me search the Mac. Oh, there's no Mac issues? Mac OS, here it is. Creating context files fails. Agent runner is not functional. Is that true? No, I'm pretty sure this has been fixed. This is what I believe that's what Super Gamer's working on. Okay, I'm just gonna go through them one by one and just see like if it's probably still broken. The app spec editor cursor, link cursor is still broken. Application is built to backlog code. That's Windows. Feature generation is broken. I'm pretty sure this is fixed. Have you tested on Windows yet, Brewhead? Like I haven't seen an FS file read error for a while. At this point, I wonder, does everyone remember how to code? Hey man, I just went and add like an optional chaining on a JavaScript. So I can still kind of code, right? Okay, we can just reopen it if there is an issue, but I have not seen this issue anymore. I think I might have fixed it. So I'm gonna go ahead and close that. Context runner is not functional. Auto mode option is not functional. I'm pretty sure I fixed this as well. Pretty sure I fixed this. Be nice if like when I marked it as done, it would like get rid of this in the list. Like I literally just marked this as done, didn't I? Maybe I didn't. Let's see. Pretty sure that one's been fixed. Delete that one. This has been fixed. Application scaling causes terminal bug. Okay. Electron loads extra panel when application starts. I have not seen this one either. I think this is fixed. Application is built. I can't even get this working on Electron, like after I build it, so I guess not. All right, let's just go here and I will turn on, oh wait, turn this on. Okay, so we can't scroll down to the very bottom of this panel. Like, I don't know if there's something wrong with the scroll height here. So I think I can go, let's see if I can try to remember where these things are defined. So we have, this is the spec editor. Probably called spec view. And there's a scroll bar somewhere. I'm unable to scroll. When the text in the text area is super long, I'm unable to scroll to the very bottom of it. Can you fix this issue? I'm guessing it's this thing. No. Oh, that's the modal. Is there another text area in this project? Probably this one. All right, let's take a peek at this. Let's verify this is the thing. Okay, that's it. Overflow hidden on the card, overflow hidden on this. Why is there so many overflow hiddens here? Text area. Trying to figure out like what is actually used to display that. Okay, so it's this. Why is there a text area here? What is this text area for? Actual text area. Does this one like reference that? Oh, there's a highlight layer. Okay. So this is like a hidden text area, I believe. Is this like display none? Okay. So this, for some reason, I'm gonna go ahead and just put in here. I still can't see all of the text that's actually in the text area. I think it's getting cut off at some point. Can you just add some padding? One more time. I think this thing right here has... Yeah, I'm gonna actually just like remove the syntax highlighting and try to add it back in. Can you actually just simplify this? Remove all the syntax highlighting, just make this a text area that displays all the text. Hmm. Won't start in macOS because of the icon node path issues. If I recall, they need fixed to work properly based on current OS. Okay. When creating a spec, you need a clarification loop. Probably a good idea. Could you, I guess, elaborate on what you mean by that? Like have it kind of go through and give suggestions or something? All right, this is working fine, but not really syntax highlighted. So I'm going to go and just basically say, can you bring in a third-party library to add some type of XML syntax highlighting to this component now? I'm going to add these because now it's actually like looking better. Let me see if I can actually save it. There you go. Simple as that. Oh, wait, is it still broken? Let me let it finish. This seems broken. I cannot scroll to see all the text, but it is being syntax highlighted, so that's working fine. Check the parent divs and the current div to make sure that it has like a scroll auto and there's no like auto scroll hidden on anything. So getting cut off at the bottom. This is almost perfect, but there's a little bit of padding at the bottom of, I think, the card, which is cutting off the very last tokens of the XML. Either add some padding inside the XML at the bottom or find another better elegant solution for this. I am just using Composer 1 for everything, just for fun. I mean, like, I could use Opus. Just burns through a lot more tokens. And I'm trying to get a little bit more familiar with the code base. It's reached the point where it's like a lot of code. I'm not sure I really understand how it's all working, so I'm going to slow down so I can actually like understand what's going on. Instead of just like prompting my way to a solution and breaking the app constantly. Okay, this looks pretty good. Kind of. You can't select anything though. Like, why can't I select? I don't know why we even need this like syntax highlighter thing. Isn't there like not a code editor we can just use? Let me load up another over here. Hold on. This solution is not good. Could you just use Code Mirror, which is like a code editor plugin that we can use to edit this XML and format it instead of whatever the syntax highlighter stuff you're doing is and overlaying on top of a text scrollable text area? You know what? I'm gonna do Opus for this one. What's up, people on Twitch? Yeah, for that 24-hour one, I just let it run. I think I almost got to like my limit on the week. So like I pay for the $100 a month Claude Code plan. So every week's like what, $25? And I got to like I think 70 or 80%. So overall it's probably like $20 of just like letting Claude cook. So it didn't use as many tokens as you think it would. I got a role as a AI ops dev vendor with Microsoft. Cool. Congrats. That's awesome. The repo I'm working on is insane, completely Copilot written. Yeah, if you just let AI write your stuff, like the code is kind of garbage. If you actually read through this code, it's pretty garbage. But you can also just reprompt it, kind of like refactor it and stuff. So like we could probably, like this is working now. Let's just make sure. Nice. Let me see if I can get the stylus a little bit better. This is looking pretty good, but can you find a way to style it based on the existing theme that's selected in the application? Remember that our application has like a global theme where you can select various colors and that switches out the Tailwind / global CSS styles. I need you to figure out what an elegant solution to basically find a way to customize a theme in CodeMirror so that it matches the current theme of the app. That one might be kind of hard. But at least we can scroll to the very bottom and we have like a nicer way to actually add in code editors to this project. Because what it was doing before is like putting a text area with a bunch of text and then it put like an overlay on top of it so that when you scroll, it's showing the overlay and not the actual text area. It felt very hacky. I think using an actual like code editing library is probably a much better approach. Did I fix that drop down bug? We have not fixed it yet. We just kind of, I've stopped caring about it. It takes a long to wait for Playwright. Yeah, it does. If you do the automated testing, it takes a long time for like Playwright to run through your tests. And then if one fails, it has to go and rerun them. So it doesn't use as many tokens as you think it would. Are you working on any client projects? If so, how much of it is being written with AI? I mean, at work, I work on a larger scale project. It's like over 500,000 lines of code. So, I mean, I do use AI to leverage writing new features, but a lot of the times it's not just adding features. It's like trying to go through and extend existing functionality with a bunch of different like edge cases. And you have to kind of make sure you kind of know what the AI is changing, give it the right files as context. And so you don't like move as fast as you think you can. On a smaller project like this, like you could probably move super fast by yourself. But you can still get yourself into a situation where the whole code base is basically like duct taped together because you're not reviewing it. But as you can see, I mean, like one prompt got it to add in code mirror with Opus 4.5. Another prompt, let's see if the styles work. Like, that's pretty amazing stuff in my opinion. So I'm going to commit this. I'm going to add these changes. I think this is actually much better solution. And this is kind of what you have to do if you do agentic coding. It's like you can do the initial like prompting, get it to spin up your little features, you know, rapidly prototype stuff. But at some point, like you do have to come back through and you have to actually clean up what it generated, because you read through that code, there's just a bunch of slop. And I think if you just keep on adding slop on top of slop, you end up getting a point where your whole app is just basically breaking. And then you'll go and try to add another feature and it breaks more stuff in your application. So one thing I'm going to try to do in this stream is I do want to add in some type of automated testing to this project. And I want to test this spec editor. I should be able to come in, load it up. I don't think we have any Playwright tests for this, but we could probably cover them with the web mode. So if I were to stop this, let me do the init script. I'm going to do web. The next app runs on what, 3007? Hold on. Excuse me. Here, we got a web mode too. If you don't want to use Electron, we got a web mode. And I think testing in the web mode will be very simple versus trying to test with an automated test runner in Electron. I don't even know how to do that. And I don't want to spend my time trying to figure it out. Hopefully it doesn't share my screen. I see Claude setup complete. Claude is ready to use. Now let's open a folder. Let's go to workspace. I'm gonna make a workspace. What project did I have open up? I'll just click on one of these. Why not? Okay. So it'd be nice if we could automate that whole setup and mock out some things so that like when the playwright tests run, I'm automatically already like looking at some type of test folder. So this will be a good challenge for our project, I think. That's too many windows open. It's crazy. All right, let's go over here. I'm gonna make a new chat window. I want you to start adding a suite of playwright tests that can automate to verify that the spec editor works the way it should. To get this working right now, when you load up the app in web mode, hold on, let me think. I think it's already set up. So like now if I refresh, it'll kind of just work. So let's just focus on getting this to test the spec editor real quick. Write a playwright test, which will load up the application, which I believe in web mode on port 3007. And then I need you to test two things. I need you to test that you can click on the spec editor with your mouse. And then I need you to go back to the Kanban board by clicking on the link, but then press D on your keyboard and verify that it also selects the spec editor. Then I need you to go and edit anything in the spec editor. Just copy the whole text and put the words YOLO and then save it. Then refresh the page and verify that when the page refreshes, you still see YOLO show up. After writing this test or after you're done with this test, go ahead and just revert the changes you made. So make sure you're keeping track of what the original spec editor text was so you can revert it when the test is over. Regardless if it failed or passed, you need to go back through and try to save it back to what it was. Analyze my prompt above and verify that this is a repeatable test so I can keep running it over and over again and not have some type of condition where the first test passes but the second test fails because the setup data is not right. Assume that the project is already set up. Assume that the spec file is already added as well. Inside the project, put a fixtures folder inside of like a test/fixtures folder and put a starting point which will have a project with the .automaker directory with all the necessary files to keep track of the app_spec.txt file so that this is more repeatable for anyone trying to run these suite of specs. When the app loads, you can open that directory by clicking O, using the O keyboard shortcut. That should open up the file browser. Then I need you to go through and pick the directory for that path. So figure out the actual like local path automaker/appspec.txt file. Figure out where that is and just open that file. Sorry, open the project to where that lives. Hold on. I might need to redo this whole prompt. I feel like I'm kind of all over the place here. Yeah, I'm going to redo this. You know, sometimes you just got to start over. Add in a playwright test, which will go to the web version of Automaker to port 3007. We can assume that we've already configured Automaker to work with Claude Code keys, and you should see the dashboard that shows the left side panel and the ability to select a project. I need you to click on the Open Project button, and then I need you to navigate to a /test/fixtures/project A directory that should already exist, and verify that when you click it and try to go through the rest of the modal, it opens it up. And then I need you to go and try to edit the app spec.txt file which exists. So go to click on the app spec editor in the side panel on the left, and then in the actual code mirror editor, I need you to modify the code. You can just replace it with the text of hello world. Click save, refresh the page, and make sure that if you go back to the spec editor, that the text has been persisted. All right, I kind of like that test better. It just tests the whole, like, can you open up an existing project? Can you go and like modify this? I'm going to say ultra think, and then sometimes I'll do a plan mode. I might just kick this off, honestly. We'll see how this does. You're not a fan of virtual desktops? Could you explain what you mean by that? I mean, I'm using, what is this called? Mac's virtual desktop type of thing. I used to use one on Mac, on Windows called Virtual Win, where I could actually like have a grid. And so I could have like a 3x3 grid, and in that grid, I would have all my project windows already opened up. So I could have multiple projects, and I could just press a command to kind of translate through that grid to have it like show all the stuff that I needed. If they have a application for Mac that's like that, let me know. That'd be pretty cool. Pretty big prompt there. Yeah, it's a big one. I had to kind of erase and start over. Since randomly haphazardly putting together features doesn't really prove much. What I meant was, how can I show my problem solving in software architecture? What's your question? Given that AI helps you so much in small scale projects, how should I approach side projects to put on my portfolio so that I'm able to showcase my expertise best? I mean, build a really amazing project and just, you don't have to say you used AI to build it all. I think regardless if you use AI to build a big project or not, you still have to at some point kind of understand the code. And the project will reach a point where it's so large that if you do not understand the code, it just becomes harder and harder to just prompt your way to a solution. And so even if your project was all written with AI, it's kind of a litmus test that you know what you're doing, because you do have to make sure that these agents are properly refactoring the code to get to that state, in my opinion. Remove that teeny web version thing on the bottom right. What is that one? Oh. Yeah, I could do that. See if I can save some tokens. I'll just go find it. There should be a web mode. Setup view is full screen without the sidebar. Environmental indicator. I don't need that. All right, there, it's gone. Yeah, maybe we can fix the drop down bug again on the stream. For sure, I'm contributing to the repo mess by writing bad E2E tests for it. What's up, Super Combo Gamer? How do you avoid changes from multiple agents running at the same time, conflicting with each other? Well, I mean, if your application is large enough, you should be able to kick off multiple different prompts working on different areas of your code base. Like, for example, this add feature button in the top right, it's completely irrelevant to any prompt that I'm doing right now with the spec editor. So you can prompt and kick off various things at the same time and just have them like kind of focus on, okay, this is my prompt that I'm going to use for this page. And you won't have collisions, right? These things will not collide with each other, assuming that your code is decoupled properly. Like, there may be rare instances where maybe the spec editor is using like a shared component, and that shared component is used somewhere else that you just prompted to refactor it, and that agent will go through and try to modify that shared component, which will then break this thing that's trying to use the shared component. But it's very rare. Like, I've been able to kick off tons of prompts as long as you're not like kicking off 5 Claude Code instances to update the same app spec page. But why would you even do that, you know? Stick to one panel, let that context window grow so it keeps learning more and more about the app spec editor, and then you're just going to get more accurate every time you prompt that same context window. So a context window per page or per feature, in my opinion, is kind of like the way I do it. But again, this is just my experience. I think there's a bunch of other people who have been experimenting using these things much differently than I have. What is this doing? So it's trying to write this test. By the way, Sharon added a bunch of like unit tests, which are great. But if you guys can also try to add these end-to-end tests with Playwright, just a simple little test that kind of at least clicks through for us. So when we make a pull request, we don't have to keep on testing this stuff because it's becoming unmanageable. Like we can't move forward at a rapid pace when we keep breaking everything. And at the very least, having something that checks like the low-hanging fruit of like, okay, does the app spec editor even work? Because I don't want to clone the main and then realize that this thing is broken for the third time, you know? Like it's just not, it's not fun to work like that. All right, let's see what this test is doing. So I made a spec file. And it's trying to get the workspace root, apps, app. Okay, so it's going to go to apps, app. I'm guessing there's a fixtures folder here. Is there fixtures? Oh, tests. Yeah, did it put a project somewhere? Tests, fixtures, project A. So where did it put that? Tests, fixtures, project A. Okay, here it is. And then it verified that an app spec was there. And then I might even git commit this so that everyone else who like tries to run this, the test automation resets the fixtures aspect before and after. The fixture path is automated resolved. Running the test. Now I'm going to switch to the composer because I just wanted to do it really quick. I could just go ahead and tag like probably the package JSON if it doesn't already have something about running the tests. Test workspace is headed. Yeah, I wonder if it just added this thing or not. Let's see. Did it even change my package JSON? I don't see it. Can you make sure you add a test -end-to-end alias so that it'll run these playwright tests for us automatically? Update the relevant package JSON files to get this working. All right, let's go back to chat. Oh, hope you feel better, man. I don't know what I even asked you to do, but I can do that later at night. Yeah, I don't know. No rush. Just do whatever you can contribute to. Cody, what did you commit to the fix agent runner branch? I don't think I committed there, did I? I've been working on a random fixes branch. Unless I accidentally committed something, then I'm sorry. Is it still good to build side projects using minimal AI to learn things, or should I go all in with AI? I think you need to do whatever works for you. If you can learn and read through the output of the LLM and read through the code and understand what it's doing, if that's how you can learn and if you find it successful, then do it. If you feel like you don't know what's going on when the LLM is changing code and you try to read through the code diffs and you just still don't know what's going on, then I would say that you need to go and write the code by hand, or you need to go and figure this stuff out by hand. Like, this stuff will stunt your growth if you don't know what it's doing. But some people are really good at just reading code and like learning from it and understanding what's going on. Others have to get their hands on the keyboard and actually write code to understand how to like read code. So you got to figure out what works for you, you know? If you want to correct AI, you have to know your fundamentals, man. Common sense, yeah. But the side project mentality has changed so much. Now you have to build an actual product instead of putting together random React components and making some React hooks. What's up, Leon? Hey, Cody, love the work. Your autonomous, love the work on your autonomous agent app. Thank you, appreciate it. The end-to-end test. Yeah, that'd be great. I'm going to try to get the initial scaffolding for the end-to-end test going just for this one spec editor thing I'm adding in. But feel free if you have time to just add in some more. Just make sure they're repeatable. The one thing I hate about end-to-end tests is that like sometimes you write a whole nice suite You'll run it, it works fine. You get it on GitHub Actions and it just starts failing. And then you go and you kick off a rerun and then it passes. Or like the ordering of the tests will mess up if it passes or fails. Like just make sure that we're really making sure that these things are repeatable. So like it spins up and it creates whatever test data that we need and it resets it back all to like a nice state before every single test. I'd rather the test take 5 minutes to run and be 100% accurate every time than to like be flaky. I believe on Linux they're called workspaces, but whenever I say that, no one gets it. Basically, I group browsers in one workspace, my editor. Yeah, I think if you go look up, I think it's called VirtualWin, or VirtualWin, something like that. I used to use this is like 10 or 11 years ago when I used Windows. This tool was perfect. Like I could literally have like 7 projects all opened up. I have the browser, I have the IDE, and I have like a terminal for that project already set up. And so every time I close my laptop and come back, everything is just there running. And now with this, the way I'm doing it with Mac right now, it's just not optimal. Like this is just a bad approach. I need to find a better solution. I just haven't put in the time to find one. But now that you remind me, maybe I should just do a little bit of Googling. Hey, by the way, everyone who's watching, there's a YouTuber. He does AI coding too. Go check him out. Leon von Zeal. I don't know if I'm saying it right. But he does a bunch of Cloud Code stuff as well. I've been kind of watching his content. Cool creator, so I'll put a link there. Little shout out. I always give shout outs to other creators who join my channel. You mentioned that you're using the Anthropic long-running agent harness in this project. Mind giving a high-level breakdown of what you reused? Actually, we started with that. And then I said, Opus 4.5, refactor all this Python code to Node.js. There's a Node.js Anthropic SDK that basically you can use in Node. But it's the same idea. Basically, that the long-running harness, all it does is it thinks about your idea. It generates a giant spec.txt file, and then it will basically create a features.json file and go through one by one trying to implement the feature, write some automation with Puppeteer to make sure it's valid. And it has some like other prompting. Like the only thing that's important about that project is that it does a loop over like 2 prompts. The first prompt is an initialization prompt, which will set up your entire project in your app spec.txt in a features.json file, which is like an array of a bunch of features. And then the second prompt is your coding prompt, which they have in the repo. And I would just say read through that prompting because that's where the key magic is. It basically tells it to think hard, try to design it, try to implement it, and then test it. And then also test a couple of other features at the same time to make sure nothing broke. And then commit it. And then move on to the next feature in the features.json file. That's literally all it does. So imagine if you were to sit here manually, you just keep pasting that coding prompt over and over again. So when it's done, you go and you paste it for the next feature. All they did was put that in a while loop, basically, and interact with their SDK. Do you... see, Dante says, do you fully learn into... Oh, Dante says, do you fully lean into agentic coding when working on large, massive code bases? No. I mean, I try to make sure I understand the code. On a large, massive code base, like, it's my full-time job, and I'm getting paid to, like, know what I'm doing. I don't just, like, blindly add features. I make sure I understand, like, what's going on. Now, on side projects, I won't lie, I vibe code. I'll just be like, okay, team, just fix this, because I don't really care. It's a side project. Whether or not it's successful, like, I want it to be successful, but at the same time, it's like, it's not like, you know, paying my bills. But on a work project, I want to make sure the code is actually good and not like insecure and is performant. And so I do review all the code, and I try not to just like blindly prompt my way to a fix every single time. Which means you do have to go a little slower, right? You do have to slow down. You do have to review the code. But the overall health of the project, especially if someone's paying you a salary, it's probably pretty important. All right, let's just see if there's a test thing we can run here. Test. Why did it say test spec editor? I could just try to run that and see what happens. Yeah, I might do Opus and just tell it to do it on repeat. Can you please run npm run test spec editor in a loop until you manage to get it working? I will say that some things like writing end-to-end tests, like I would not spend a bunch of time like trying to manually write these code this test. You should probably read through it and make sure it's doing things the playwright compatible way. Like I think I saw a bunch of sleeps, wait for timeout. Like this feels like a gross hack that it's adding in the stuff. There's probably better ways in playwright to actually verify something's, you know, working. Typically, I write Cypress. I don't do Playwright, so I'd probably have to learn more about Playwright to be successful with this. But even this, I might reprompt this and say, hey, I'm seeing you do a bunch of arbitrary weights. Like this is the one thing that can make your test completely flaky. These arbitrary weights for any amount of time. Like don't do this in your incident test or you're going to have a whole suite of tests that just do not work well. The test instantly kaboomed classic. Yep. How can a developer prepare for recession? Huh. Did bro just go away to prepare for the recession? Yep. Where am I at? Oh no, sorry, my wife came up to talk to me, so I just wanted to mute real quick. Sorry, I should have said I was doing something. Chatter mentions recession, camera goes down. Yeah, man. I got nervous. I'm curious if you think vibe coding streams will become much more popular in the future. Sometimes it's nice to watch on the side while working on my own projects. I think so. I mean, I think people just like watching other people build stuff. And the more results that you can show on a screen during that streaming session, the more entertaining it is, in my opinion. And so before like agentic coding and vibe coding, to watch the result, the end result, you'd literally have to watch someone code for like 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour before they can even show you something, like a little prototype of something that works, depending on how good the streamer is, right? I go on Twitch often. I go and like just browse and watch people. Most of the time when they're not using AI the whole stream, they don't even ship anything. Like they just talk to chat the whole time and there's like no progress. But I think it's very entertaining to watch someone, whether or not it's vibe coded or not, just being productive and seeing the result basically get iterated on and improve over time. So yeah, I think they're going to become a lot more popular. Plus Bridgemine, I've been watching him. He's getting like 160, almost 200 viewers every stream. So there's definitely a niche for it. Versus if I sat here and tried to code stuff by hand, I don't think people are as interested, you know? My message doesn't show. I think I got banned. I can see you right here. Vibe coding is a feature. Vibe coding is only fun if you have gone through docs. Blind copy paste lets you. I don't know if vibe coding is a feature. I would say agentic coding is a feature. You know, which, by the way, I got an Agentic Jumpstart course. If you guys are interested in learning about Agentic coding, I got a course with 70 modules, over 11 hours of content where I'm teaching Claude Code, Cursor, how to do prompting, context engineering. We got a really cool community and a Discord. Discord. So if you guys want to join the Discord, it's free. You can go there if you are actually enthusiastic about using AI and learning AI. Join my Discord community. That's actually where I met the people that we are building out this automaker app on. Which, where's my automaker app? It's gone. Anyway, let me just do a quick little plug. And then also we're trying to add like more resources here. So like if you want some starter kits for a project that I built out myself with TanStack Start, it's got everything already hooked up, Stripe hooked up, Drizzle for Postgres hooked up. Got 2 little starter kits there. I am starting all my projects using TanStack Start now. So these are the starter kits that I'm actually reaching for. And then we also have an agents mode where if you guys are ever playing around with like trying to create cool prompts that can make stuff better, I wanted to make like a repository of just really nice prompts. Like for example, I think the Google team released a Gemini 5% better prompt. I basically just pasted in here and it's supposed to make Gemini just think a little harder and actually improve its output. And then these are some other prompts I've used, like, you know, a clean code prompt where you can paste it to have it like clean up all your code that it did a pretty bad job writing. But yeah, I think at the very least, if you want to buy the course, which I think is pretty valuable, join the community. Just be part of something. A lot of cool people in that Discord. I truly believe that democratizing getting an idea from inception to a finished project is a net benefit, but we need to be responsible about security and treating sensitive user data. We don't want more tea like horror stories. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one reason why you sometimes just have to like slow down and make sure you understand what's going on, because with AI, you can churn out so much more code, and typically the code is being built on the existing code in your code base. And so if your initial starting point of the code base is sloppy, it literally just takes your slop code and it like copies and pastes it everywhere for every new feature request that you add in. Unless you're very proactive in like reviewing it and making sure that it didn't just duplicate the same thing 3 places. Like that's basically what I've seen from my initial using Cursor Composer all the way to now with Opus 4.5. It still seems to just copy and paste code everywhere, and the code becomes unmaintainable. There's like hard-coded things everywhere in the code base. Hard-coded strings, hard-coded magic numbers, and you do have to be proactive in like trying to get that stuff refactored out. I'm not sure what's going on here. Like, why is it trying to install Playwright? And then you have to babysit AI. Like, this thing should have been doing something, but it just sat there waiting for me to cancel it. And then my cursor instance just, wait, what happened to it? Let's see. I might just have to manually run these Playwright tests. Just run them so I can see what's going on. Yeah, I don't know what it's doing. Just stop. Just stop what you're doing, because you're not doing a good job. It's supposed to be loading up a browser. Why don't I see a browser anywhere? Okay, this one's failing. I think I could probably just give it this whole thing. There's one more failing playwright test. Can you look at this URL and figure out why it's failing and fix it? Go ahead and paste in this other stuff too. For context, I guess. Wait for selector spec view. Waiting for the spec view to become visible, but if you go and look at this, it's never finding it. Probably because spec view, no app specification found. This should have been defined when it loaded up that project, so I think there's just some more issues going on there. Yeah, how do I actually run this in like a, not a headless mode, but an actual like... Is this playwright test headed? Oh, I can just run this one. Okay. It just skipped my test. Should open project via file browser, edit spec, and persist. Skip the file browser directory by directory navigating. It's just too complex, flaky for automated testing. See? It's like AI can't figure it out. So it just literally just skipped the test because it didn't even want to figure it out. It's like stuff like this. It's like, no, you were supposed to get it working. Like, let's not just skip stuff. So we will try to like, let me get rid of those two things. You're not allowed to skip tests. I will fire you if you keep skipping these tests. Please fix the test and figure out how to actually test this with the file browser that pops up. You should be able to find that directory. Inside of the test/fixture/project A folder. Now, I do think it might have some trouble doing that because if you do think about the feature, when you first click open folder, it just picks up random location. And so I think what we might need to do actually is, let me see. I think to make this easier to test, when the test suite runs, get the current working directory of where we're at, like the root of the current project, and then tokenize that so we can figure out where exactly we are in the application. No, that's not going to be easy. I think that the file opener needs an input. Refactor the file browser to allow us to just paste in the full path to the directory if a user wants to, so that we can utilize just dropping in the full path to the project A folder during the end-to-end tests to make this much easier to test and also a little bit more user-friendly for power users who know the exact path for their project instead of having to click through the project editor. I'm going to let this test run and then we'll kind of come back and see. I'm using Super Whisper. Type that out for you guys. Yeah, I would recommend people just like update your stuff, I guess. For TanStack Start, I don't even use server-side rendering really. They kind of do a different approach. But I don't think they're really vulnerable to like these React security vulnerabilities. My messages, let's see. That's a nice take. I've been procrastinating streaming for way too long. I don't feel like vibe coding is the future. It's just a prompt. You'd imagine if AI is what they say it is, it can figure out better prompts. All the people claiming AI will produce 90% of the code are correct because at the rate it produces code is so much higher than someone writing themselves. Yeah, I mean, I think you can actually like make projects that are 100% written with AI. You can literally just keep prompting, review the code and prompt it to fix it, review the code and prompt it to change it. Think of a new feature idea, prompt it to add it. Like you can literally do that. Now, the question ends up becoming, how much money are you spending by just prompting every single time? Is it faster for you as a coder to go and fix it yourself? Sometimes these are really simple bugs that you can actually go fix and like open up a file and change something. Versus sometimes you do just want to let Opus do it because it's going to churn out much more code than you could ever do in like an hour session. Like look at all this code in this test file. It's like 400 lines of code. There's not a single developer you can find me that could write this in less than 30 seconds. That's how fast the AI basically churned out this whole file. Now, it's not working, granted. Well, some of the tests are, but there's just no way. You'd have to go and load up your app and then go and look at the component you want to test and then go inspect it. Notice it doesn't have a test ID attribute. So then you manually add it. You come back to your test. You write this line by hand and you go and you run it. The test fails. You're like, oh, I don't know why it's failing. So then you go and you write this code by hand. You go and you run the test. Like there's no way. There's not a single developer you can point me to on the planet who could write an end-to-end test faster that actually works like 1 or 2 prompts in than AI could. Like it's just not going to happen. I've written so many end-to-end tests, so many unit tests. There's so much time that you waste just trying to debug this stuff. Okay, so the tests are all passing. I'm going to run this again. And granted, what you're seeing on a stream, like when I'm streaming, I'm not in the zone. I'm not locked in. This is me just like chatting with people, having some fun. But like when I'm locked in, like it's just so much faster. Like the iteration speed's so fast. I got music playing. I'm not thinking about, okay, how can I make this entertaining and keep on looking up at the camera, the talk, the chat. Like I'm just coding the whole time and prompting. And so you can actually churn out quite a lot of code. Looks like the playwright tests are passing. And how it got it working, I'd be curious to see that because it didn't even have to add in my little like my file path thing. So let's see what it did. Add init script was running on every page load. When the page reloads, it would reset local storage and clear out the project that was just opened via the file browser, fixed by using a page evaluate, which only runs once, then reloading. File browser navigation wasn't properly waiting. The test was using if statement with a catch block. Cool. I mean, so it's a good start. The tests, I think, are still pretty bad, like this pretty sloppy test. But let's watch it real quick. It goes and opens up the directory. It goes straight to the, look at that. It even clicked through the file browser and found my test folder. I don't know how it did it. How is it doing that? Navigate through the directory structure, workspace. Yeah, this will be very brittle because there's many people running this project. Some are using Windows, some are using Linux, I believe. And so I don't think this is going to work. They try to run it on their computer. I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to say, hey, I think this is going to be very brittle. I'm afraid this approach will be very brittle because there are a lot of people working on different operating systems trying to run this project. And I have a feeling that when they run these, it's going to fail. These also need to run on GitHub Actions, which might also have a different directory. Like they won't have a workspace there. So instead, look at the prompt I'm going to provide below and implement it. Okay, I'm going to kick that off. Now I will, though, I'm going to add what we have because, I mean, it is kind of working. We got into a working state, so let's add it in. But I don't want to lose that state. Sometimes AI will come through and like blow away your code and make it even worse than it was before. So get into the habit of like always adding stuff. Like add it to your stage area so that if it were to break it and make it worse, you can just revert it. There's also checkpoints in Cursor and checkpoints in Claude Code that you can kind of utilize. I don't really use them too much. As you can see here, I never do like the whole keep and undo stuff in Cursor. I just find it annoying. And I really hope they get rid of it because it just makes your whole code base a mess. Like, look at this stuff. If Cursor could remove these, I'd be so happy. I never use these. They're just annoying. Like, I'm not going to go through 50 files and click accept for everything. It's either all or nothing. Either it works or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, I'm just going to stash everything and try again, or just let it iterate on itself. Are you using IndexedDB for any local storage? Not right now. Basically went like, this isn't even my final form. Assuming the cursor agent CLI is the same, wouldn't that solve your problem? What's up, Chets? Can you explain? I'm not sure what your question is. I'm creating a social media platform. Get out of here. I never use cursor again after they ask or sign up. We are building a tool. Do you enjoy coding more before or after AI? Honestly, I'm slowly starting to forget what it was to code before AI. And I think that's a good thing because the amount of hours I've spent on fixing small little syntax errors or silly little package version mismatches, or like, okay, I'm using a version of NPM or version of Next.js that has a small bug, and I just spent 8 hours trying to fix it when all I had to do was go into my package.js and just update my Next.js to the latest version. It's stuff like that the AI, like, I would rather just let Opus try to solve it for me first. Because if it can solve a bug like that, that would have taken me like hours of dev time before I finally figure it out. Those aren't fun bugs to work on. They're not. Like, those bugs are just like annoying time sinks. And so using AI has been amazing for me for that, because it's like, okay, this is a bug I don't care about. I don't feel fulfilled, fixing a Next.js NPM installation issue. It's not fun to do that. And so it's much more enjoyable now using AI to fix those like low-hanging fruit bugs where it's like not that important to fix, but like you have to fix it or else you can't make progress. I'd rather focus on actually building out the product because that's the fun thing. Let me run these tests again. Okay, it looks like it's working. I'm curious, the file browser dialog. So I'm gonna actually run the app. Oh, I do have the web browser already open, so I didn't need to close it. Go back to Automaker, open. Oh, we can paste in the full path here. So yeah, this is such, not only did we make the user experience better, in my opinion, and I do believe that Super Combo Gamer really wanted this, the ability to paste this in. So the test can actually use this to go right to where we need to go. And now they're not hopefully going to be like so coupled to the operating system. And we could, of course, go and do this manually. We can click on the folders and like, okay, now let's open up this whole folder here. Cool, but I think that's a good start. I'm going to go ahead and add these. And then also I'm going to add a prompt. This is great. Can you add a GitHub action for pull requests, which will run these end-to-end tests on every pull request? See, even that, like a prompt like that, I know my head's hiding it. The amount of time, how long do you think it would take me to go and load up a GitHub Actions YAML file and type all that out by hand? Granted, I probably wouldn't type it by hand. I'd probably have to go find an existing YAML file, and then I copy and paste it into my project, and I go through and read it, and then I have to go and modify some stuff. Now I can just prompt it, and now I could start going and working on something else, kicking off a second or a third or a fourth prompt, adding features, fixing other bugs. And then eventually this will be done. Okay, it's already done. This took what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds? If I go back and rewatch the stream, I know exactly how long it took. It's just no way that you could write this faster. You just couldn't write it faster. I know developers like to think they can, but they can't. Like, it's just not possible. And if you know someone who can write it faster, show me a stream of them doing it. Get them on a live stream. Show me them coding. Especially when these, like Opus 4.5 is pretty accurate. Like, I bet you when I commit this, it'll run it just fine. Okay, so this is going to run on all pull requests. Okay, main and master. I don't have master branch, so I can get rid of that. Ubuntu latest. Timeout for 15 minutes. Okay, installs dependencies. Install Linux native bindings. I guess this is needed for... I feel like some of this stuff will actually not work. I have a feeling Playwright will not work first try. Probably some like project-based dependencies you need to get it going. What's this doing though? Creating the test fixtures directory. This, yeah, I don't think this is necessary. I might even prompt it. Instead of doing this inside the end-to-end action test, can you actually have a script that'll do this? Or we could just commit it to the repo. No, I don't think we should commit it to the repo. Okay, so now I'm going to prompt it to try to fix that, because this looks like a smell to me. Like, why are we doing the test setup here? This is something that needs to happen locally when developers try to run this locally too. So I'm going to extract that out. I'm going to put it in a script, a setup script or something. It's probably going to tack it on to the npm alias that's over here. Start the backend server. Okay, this looks good. Wait for the backend server. Okay, so we have a nice health check wait. I don't know if we have a health check, do we? We do. We have a health check endpoint. Yep, it's working. Okay. Again, I do like to validate the AI because I didn't know we had an API health endpoint, but it looks like we do. So now you can go. It's going to basically wait for the API to spin up. It's going to run the end-to-end tests. Where did it run the front end? It builds it. Or build. Runs the server, runs the end-to-end tests. Uploads artifacts. Yeah, I don't... Is it even running the actual the UI though? Inside the end-to-end test YAML, can you verify that it's actually spinning up the web UI? I don't see that happening anywhere. Is that something that's configured into Playwright itself? Locally, I had to have the web API running manually. Tell it to skip welcome UI view when env CI is present, so setting up Claude won't fail the test. That's probably a good idea, yeah. I need you to also go through and add an environment variable so that when the web API runs, I need you to also add an environment variable that's only used for testing so that when the web app loads up, it'll always skip the Claude code setup wizard. I just wanted to go straight to the actual like main dashboard of the application and not try to trigger the whole wizard setup logic. So I'm going to kick that one off too. All right, hopefully that'll be good. Good suggestion, Sharon. Appreciate it. Shironi. I don't know how do you say your name? Shironi? Chiron? Do you think good code is not an honest signal for being a good engineer anymore? I think what I consider a good engineer is someone who's creative. Like they can think outside the box. They don't need to be told how to like solve problems. They can, when they're presented a story or a feature or a bug, they can hit it from every single different angle without being asked to do that. They can also instantly reach out to an LLM and let the LLM ideate for them. They understand that the LLM is there as a tool and they can use it. That's a good engineer, right? They know when they should go and read up a GitHub issue. They know when they should go Google it versus ask the LLM, or maybe even do all these things at the same time. Maybe even kick off 3 different models to research the issue for you. right? It's that mindset of like, we have all these tools. Now, are you consistently reaching out to them when you need them? And when do you choose to pick one over the other? Creativity, having a good eye for like what's a good user experience, what's a bad user experience, having a good eye for like understanding when code it looks bad or ugly and needs to be refactored, when stuff seems like it's getting too cluttered or coupled together, like in your code base, and knowing how to refactor that out. So good code is not just the only signal. There's a ton of signals with like being a good engineer, being able to communicate with people and being like open to talk about ideas and try different things. Like sometimes you have to get into a meeting at work with different people and like bounce ideas around and try to like do an analysis of which one might be better than the other and have an honest conversation with people and not be a complete a-hole. Like there's some people who think that their opinion is always the best opinion, and those are the type of people that no one wants to work with. So there's like a bunch that goes into being a good engineer. It's not just about how good the code you write is. And now AI is making it less important because AI can write some pretty good code if you know how to prompt it correctly to write the code. How expensive is Opus 4.5? Do you run into limit issues? I am currently at a limit issue right now. I'm at like 90%. I'm like 99% usage right now, so I have to wait till Monday for it to reset. So I've been kind of using Cursor on demand, which is kind of costing a little bit more. I have a couple of free Cursor credits though, so like I'm not worried about this until I hit my my limit. But let's see what else we got here. Wait, use a prompt as a path, see if it crashes. What do you mean? I never use Cursor again after they ask. Why TanStack instead of Next.js? I think Next.js is a little bit overly complicated in my opinion. And most of these security vulnerabilities that React has been having with the server-side rendering, there's been 2 major security vulnerabilities in the past like month with React. And Next.js really leveraged the server-side rendering. TanStack Start does a completely different approach to like doing that. I don't think they use server components. So they're not, the whole framework is not vulnerable to that. I do think Next is still good, and it's like backed by a huge company and ecosystem. But in terms of my needs and doing like I don't know, local first development, local first experiences, which I think are going to become more important as time goes on, I think TanStack Start kind of has it right in that aspect. Currently, Automaker has work tree support, so I can work on multiple work trees simultaneously. I think Sharon was working on that. I don't think it's fully implemented, but you'd have to go and ask him. But that would be something cool. There's still a lot of stuff we need to kind of focus on with the whole like agentic committing and auto pushing code and work trees. And that could be like the next iteration, I believe, that we could focus on. Right now, we're trying to go through the app and make it actually like bug free and feel like a good experience for the first time. Like we just had a recent, it's like yesterday, a bunch of stuff was broken. And so like now we're trying to go through and fix stuff. We got the tests on different operating systems. And I'm just trying to write some tests, some end-to-end tests, because I just want to make sure this stuff like doesn't break on us all the time, so we can actually like move a lot faster. I tested Cursor on agents. I used agents to code something a while. After a while, you don't have any idea what happened to your code. Yeah, I mean, if you just don't review the code, it's gonna cost you in the long run, I believe. At this point, are you building any side projects without necessarily the aim to earn revenue from it? I mean, this one we're building, that my goal wasn't for Automaker. The goal was not to make revenue. I just wanted a tool where I could like manage my all my projects. And this was an idea that was from Super Gamer. Where's Super Gamer? Super Combo Gamer. Like I was just chatting with them, and we were trying the Anthropic Claude Code Python project to like see how it worked. And he's like, "Hey, why don't you just prompt the Anthropic code to rebuild itself in Node.js?" And so I did it, and it gave us Automaker, and now we've just been basically cooking on it. Yeah, Super Combo Gamer, shout out to him. He has a bunch of good ideas. MVP over here. Not sure if still work after monorepo refactor. Didn't test them for a while. Curious how many people bought the Agentic Jumpstart course. I think about like 40 something sales right now. Not too shabby. All right, I'm gonna end the stream though. It's been an hour and 20-minute stream, not too long. I'm gonna go hang out with my wife. I'll try to commit this branch and finish this up. And sorry, I haven't really been showing the app much. I mean, this is the app. If I can go to the UI, this is the app. Basically, you can select any project in your workspace. So if I wanted to go and actually start building on Automaker, let's go find Automaker. Boom. Okay. Now I can actually kick off new tasks here. I can add features and kick them off. If I drag this card into in progress, it'll kick off a Claude Code SDK instance to basically build up a new feature. And if you just sit here and wait, you'll see this whole screen basically add in the feature. Like it just refreshes live because you have live reload going on. And whatever feature you ask it to build in, it'll just add it in for us. And so we're using Automaker, at least that's my end goal, is use Automaker to build more features onto Automaker. And then additionally, I have all these other side projects that I'm working on. For example, I have Agentic Jumpstart. I add all these projects to my quick navigation over here, and then I can quickly just navigate through them. Okay, so I'll load up Automaker. And so sometimes I'll be like working on Automaker and then someone will ping me on the Discord about a bug they found in Agentic Jumpstart. So I just go over to it and I'll say, hey, a user just found a bug in Agentic Jumpstart that's this. Can you please fix it? And I'll just like add that in and then kick that off. Claude Code will go and add it to my project and commit it for me and push it. And then that is basically deployed out. And I can switch back to Automaker and start doing the same thing. So I don't know, it's really cool. I think this is super cool. So I'm going to end the stream. Thank you guys for joining in. Hope you guys learned something new by watching me. You guys can go check out my agenticjumpstart.com course if you guys want some tips and tricks about how I learned how to do this type of coding. Other than that, we're going to make this project open source at some point, hopefully soon, and then just keep on adding features to it. You got 8,000 from the course already, pretty much. Minus the Stripe, you know how much Stripe charges, but I'm going to shoot for higher though. Not sure if they still work after mono review. Let's see, curious how many people bought the. Ping me once you're done because, okay. Yeah, Stripe, it's funny. You see all these payments come in and then you look at the dashboard and it's like, you're supposed to be here. And then like, this is how much after Stripe takes your change. And then this is how much you get after you pay taxes. Everyone always wants a slice of the pie, you know what I'm saying?